Hey guys, I like my pasta creepy here, and today's story is called The Spiders of Eastern Station. Tell them I am the stuttering gasps of a dying rodent. Tell them I am the broken wings of a seabird 2 miles inland. Tell them I am the indecibel voice pulsing through the static of a dead AM station. Tell them I am the harbinger of all answers, and tell them that there are no answers. There are no spiders in Eastern Station. It is nothing more than a piece of folklore passed along from generation to generation to keep the young and innocent from venturing off to cohort with degenerates that dwell in the tunnels. But there are no stiff straws like bristle brushing against the spray-painted cement. There are no soft drips of venom falling upon the railway tracks as they creep deeper into the depths. There are no soft, guttural roars generated between the mandibles as they stalk those foolish enough to tread beyond the safe embrace of fluorescent lighting. There are no endless circuits of taunt, interweaving lengths of silk hanging between the corridors where no trains no longer tread. There are no spiders in Eastern Station. Yet there are moments where some call it into question. A young mother glances away for a moment only to find her child vanished, without even the sound of pattering footsteps heard on the platform headed towards the long-abandoned D-tunnel. And so the newspapers publish their stories in columns. They pull their interviews and gather their expert opinions. They issue warnings that child abductions are on the rise, to always hold your child's hand when in public. Meanwhile, blog posts spill grainy cell phone photographs of off-brown blurs peeking out from the tunnels, coupled with a ritual debate of whether it is proof. Perhaps it's enough to get aired in a 30-second blurb on local television news. Perhaps the grieving young mother watches and is torn of whether she'd prefer to believe her child isn't suffering, if that means knowing he won't return. And then the months pass. Armchair arachnologists and digital design students debunk the photos as doctored and representing a species that could not possibly exist. And so the child is deemed lost to another sort of monster, and urban legends again become just that. There are no spiders in Eastern Station. And some months later, perhaps a year, a second child drifts silently into D Tunnel. This time, a father, an ex-Marine, sprints down towards the tunnel, calling the child's name until he receives an echoing response. In the abyssal blackness, he uses his cell phone screen to illuminate the area as he yells begin to echo nearby. And perhaps a spindly, shelled arm will slash at him, slicing his wrist and knocking his phone to the desk below, with the light shining upward. Perhaps in the thin spotlight of LCD lighting, he'll watch as thick mandibles tear into the neck of his child, pulling back flesh to reveal jawbone, and before cracking the spinal column like a lobster shell, its fangs gulping feverishly at the torrent of crimson splashing onto the face of the frozen father. Perhaps the father will run. Perhaps he'll tell his story. But who would believe a man raving about spiders while splattered in blood of his own child? Perhaps a search happens, and all that is found are dropped phone chunks of pulpy flesh and other things. Perhaps the man is sent to trial and sticks to his story, inevitably being sent to a psychiatric ward where he spends his time scrawling 8-legged figures in black charcoal and taking twice daily doses of risperidone. Then the news outlets will report he is insane until he is once again forgotten. There are no spiders in Eastern Station. The cycle has gone on since the days before Eastern Station was even a station. Back when it was simply a small woodland laced with thick pockets of fur, stories were whispered about the creatures that crept in the darkness, recesses of the forest that would pull the unwary hiker down beneath the surface through grassy hatches dug and wove into the ground. Yet there are other stories that the spiders of Eastern Station aren't spiders at all, but a tribe of feral humans who dress themselves in furs bearing long, outreaching segments to stimulate the effect of having many arms. This lost tribe feeds on human flesh and drinks the blood of children to maintain their youth. The more ambitious of the tales say that by doing so, the generation of cannibals feeding on children today is one and the same. For a tribe to use cannibalistic tactics to emulate spiders would not be extremely far-fetched. Many species of spider feed upon their mate once the reproductive act is complete. Likewise, Pholcus phenagalioides, or the skull spider, is known to feed on others of its own species purely for sustenance. Thus the tribe is believed to possibly worship the skull spider. This tribe predictably became known as simply as the Spiders, and of course, there are no spiders in Eatsern Station. Perhaps some years following the death of the Marine's child, and days following the disappearance of another child, an underemployed man with a passion leading towards the macabre and fantastical will grow on obsession with the spiders of Eatsern Station. Perhaps he will comb every news report and article through library archives. Perhaps he will become enamored with sloppily designed GoDaddy sites featuring dozens of obscured images of what are claimed to be the spiders of Eatsern Station, whether they be the tribal or arachnological variety. Perhaps after a few courage-inducing sips of rum, he steps into the blackness of Eatsern Station's D tunnel. Perhaps it'll be silent for a moment, the glare of his mag light illuminating only worn graffiti against pavement, and then in the quietest moment, perhaps he'll hear a rustling rushing quickly up to his rear. Perhaps then his adrenaline will pump and he'll realize he made a mistake. And perhaps he'll run, only to be stopped short on his third step as quick slashes severs the taut fiber of his Achilles tendon. Perhaps he'll roll onto his back, point the maglite upwards to illuminate a man draped in matted furs and donning 3 long arcing arms beneath his own, seemingly made from tree branches wrapped in rose vines from each side beneath his arms. Seemingly raised in praise, perhaps there will appear a massive shadow on the tunnel roof in the distance beyond the man, and perhaps there will be a moment of silence before the shadow comes rocketing towards him, with long ropey shadows flashing in every direction before the light cuts out. Or perhaps he was yet another drunk who undertook a foolish endeavor and became lost in the abandoned expanses, only to fall and injure himself too badly to find his way home. Or perhaps he, a sad, lonesome, obsessed man with monster stories, decided to end his life in a place he found poetic. These will be the stories that will be told, and there will soon muffle out the fantastical musings of monsters and savages, for there are no spiders in the Eatsern Station. So guys, if you like today's story, make sure you click that like and subscribe button down below so you can get all the newest creepypastas from my channel. And I hope you like your creepypasta as I like my pasta creepy, guys, and have a good one.